from Kern Government Television. Welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy. And our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Okay, board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Flores.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday, October 10th, 2 p.m. meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. Before we hear from County Council, I have a chairman's report that I'd like to read today in closed session. Regarding item 56 of this morning's agenda, I'm pleased to report by unanimous vote, 5-0, the Board of Supervisors appointed Allison Burrows as the Interim Director of Behavioral Health and Recovery Services, effective October 14, 2023. Ms. Burrows will lead our Behavioral Health and Recovery Services Department while the board conducts an open recruitment to permanently fill the director's position. Okay, Margot, report from County Council.
Good afternoon. In addition to item number 56, your board met in closed session on items 57, 58, and 59, and there is no other reportable action.
Thank you, Ms. Raison. Okay, at this time, we'll be considering the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA or C above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. The CA represents the consent agenda for the Board of Supervisors, and the C represents the consent agenda for the Kern Sanitation Authority and Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District, and IHS Public Authority. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask any questions regarding an item or item on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken on the consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. A member of the public may also comment on any closed session item. Okay, at this time, I will read the consent agenda. On page 2, items 3 and 4. On page 3, items 5 and 8. Page 4, items 9 through 11. On page 5, items 12 through 15. Page 6, items 16 through 21. On page 7, items 22 through 25, and items 27 through 29. On page 8, items 30 through 37. On page 9, items 38 through 45. And on page 10, items 46 through 54. And that concludes the reading of the consent agenda items. Is there any member of the public that would like to comment on any of the consent agenda items? Now is the time.
Motion on consent.
Okay, motion on consent. Second.
Sorry.
Okay, please cast your vote.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, thank you. Brings us to item number 1, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may take action to direct staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state and spell your name before making your presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ralph Robles, R-O-B-L-E-S. I am a veteran. And for many months now, I have been coming to this board and asking, when are we going to see cameras over the drop ballot boxes? And I've been getting a song and dance about $2 million being funded for it. Now I'm hearing that it's not $2 million. I would like to know exactly how much money you have funded for it And I would like to know exactly who you have requested bids from, and how many cameras are you going to have, and when are you going to install them, and when are you going to test them? Another question that I have had is, how do you know that you do not have a wireless device on your tabulator? I have been told that you have one, but it is administratively disconnected. My question is, how do you administratively disconnect a Wi-Fi unit? I also understand that you do not have the keys to open the unit up and to see, in fact, that the unit has been in any form disconnected. You do not have the source codes to tell, and you do not have any external devices to detect if the Wi-Fi is actually activated. I would like answers, and I would like to have straight answers to these questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robles. Next speaker, please. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Okay, that brings us to board member announcements or reports. Okay, seeing none. Move to items number 6 and 7.
Mr. Chairman, can I,
Sure.
is that Miss Espinoza in the back?
I can't see. I don't know. Yeah.
It is, thank you.
Okay, sure.
Would you be willing to respond to the last speaker?
Good morning, Amy Espinoza, Kern County Auditor, Controller, County Clerk, Registrar of Voters. As Mr. Zervis mentioned earlier, we will be coming back, I will be coming back with a presentation to your board on all of the funding that your board has allocated to the Elections Department. I presented all of that on February 28th, a long list of things we needed, so I will bring back each of those items and let you know where exactly we are in that process. A lot of these items are multifaceted and they do require input from different departments. And so it just takes a little while to get things going. The cameras at the drop boxes will be in place by the time those drop boxes are opened to accept ballots for the March election, 100%. And we're all working towards that goal.
What about the
Hang on.
wireless devices?
Mr. Chairman, could I ask you to come back and give, Mr. Robles has asked several questions, and can you include those questions in your presentation when you bring this back to us?
I can, and I don't have the information right in front of me, but the question that he's asking about right now, that was included in the February 28th presentation when I had our, I don't remember his position, Pearson Jew, he's in County ITS, and he came in and gave us a very thorough explanation of the devices that we use, their connectivity, and how those are secured.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Supervisor Couch.
Mr. Chairman, I also wanted to mention that there is a Vigil for Israel tonight at 7 o'clock at Temple Bethel, and I just wanted to, that's at 2906 Loma Linda Drive, and I wanted to make that announcement to see if there was anyone that heard that would like to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think you're going as well, so thank you for that.
Yes, I am attending. Thank you. Thanks for that announcement, too. Okay. This brings us to items number 6 and 7 under Public Works. These two items will be heard concurrently. These items. Number 6 is a presentation on the proposed Shafter-Wasco compost facility, and number 7 is a contract number 24014, plan specifications and notice to bidders for covered aerated static pile composting facility at Shafter-Wasco Recycling and Sanitary Landfill. And Mr. Joshua Champlin, we will be giving the staff report. So good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Flores, members of the board. Public Works is pleased to bring before you this presentation today of a much-needed facility in Kern County moving forward. And today I'd like to turn this over to Chuck McGee with our department, who's going to be giving this presentation to you.
Great. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. McGee.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I want to thank you for the time to discuss this. This is a long-term project that was begun 7 years ago, and it is very wise to update you on where we've been, where we're going, and where we currently are. There's a lot that has occurred over that 7 years, a lot of planning, a lot of different things that we need to discuss. The organics background that started this whole process, in 1997, the county made a firm commitment to do diversion through curbside collection of source-separated grass and other compostables. That was in addition to the collection of tree branches, construction lumber, and other stuff at all facilities for inclusion in the program. In 2023, we looked at that in the infrastructure plan and began to add not only what we had, but what would be needed as we moved forward. We came back in 2015 with a comprehensive organics diversion strategy, which outlined all of the facilities in the county and how we would utilize them. And most importantly, it was in that document that we outlined the Shafter facility as the primary location to expand the organics program for the county and to add the compost facility as well as green waste processing at that site. The source reduction and recycling element, which is what controls most of what we do, was then amended to include that document as one of the attachments to that. The legislation that forces these type of actions and was encouraging to us originally began with AB 939. We were looking for the most cost-effective way to increase diversion to meet that goal. Since then, they've added AB 1826, which was the mandatory commercial recycling, the AB 876, the organics processing capacity, which is a necessary requirement that the county have enough capacity throughout the county to handle the organics generated. And of course, the one we're all very familiar with now, SB 1383, which is the one who requires massive amounts of organics be diverted from disposal. So why a county-owned and operated regional compost facility? The very first reason that we looked at back in 2015 was having one assured compliance with the new organics regulations that we saw coming. It was something that we knew we could count on, we knew it was there, and would provide an outlet for the material that we were currently getting. It provided long-term composting capacity for the cities and the county. That was very important to us because we currently had been using and continue to use private entities across the board. If there's a private composter in the county, we generally were utilizing them. However, private companies can come and go. We can't control that. That was seen over and over again. We had a large contract with community recycling. Until it occurred there was a problem. The facility shut quickly within no notice to us, leaving us with less capacity. The same thing has happened with our other partners that we work with today. Liberty Compost was one that took a large amount of material from us, but unexpectedly and without notice to us, closed. They have been since bought by Synagro and will hopefully reopen to us and provide us a capacity there, but that hasn't happened yet. The same thing happened with our partner Synagro, who we work with on a daily basis. They had a reorganization about 18 months ago and stopped acceptance of all material from us, which caused massive stockpiles to start to occur at our facilities. These were issues that have been coming on and off throughout the history of this program. This publicly owned facility has more control for us and allows us to keep the capacity necessary available for day-to-day operations. It also provides a very cost-effective way to do it. We'll see that shortly in the economics, but having this facility gives us a savings for the day-to-day operations of composting. And it integrated all of the work that we were doing at Shafter. There were a number of different programs. We simply added the organics waste stream throughput to the Shafter facility. Continuing looking at the possible use of other existing facilities seems like a good idea. They do have sufficient capacity permitted. It doesn't mean it's operational, but they have a lot of permitted capacity that could be utilized. We currently work with all of them and provide large quantities of bulking materials from our facilities that they accept at no cost. Our only cost for that program is the freight to get it to them. They do so because you'll see shortly, we have set up the processing that was required in the organics program back in 2015, and have done an amazing job to the point that we can clean it well enough that these companies will accept it at no charge. I don't know of anybody else that's able to do that, but we provide them with a very clean, very good product, and by doing so, we've gotten out of the gate fee with those facilities. The proposed compost facility is designed to take the grass and fines that these other facilities don't want. They need bulking agent to decrease the bulk density of their material, which is very high because they do sludges and other heavy material. So they utilize the bulking materials that we grind and generate for them to get down to the proper bulk density to aerate the compost that they're making. It's something they need, and it's something we need to get rid of. It's been a very good partnership between us and all these companies. If we wanted to send them the grass, the other fines that we are talking about here today, there is a gate fee. The gate fee for these facilities, combined with the freight to get it to these facilities, currently today is at $70 a ton. That's where we're sitting today. That will go up as time goes on. Freight goes up, gate fees go up, that type of thing. So right now, today, we're at $70 a ton if we want to move material from our facilities to them. Mount Vernon, we've been in partnership with them since the early 90s. It's a wonderful facility. We have worked with them hand in hand. They are currently doing over 200,000 tons of material a year, which honestly is very close to their functional capacity. It's very full. They're having a tough time getting in, getting out, getting the material turned, and the throughput continues to go up. It's still a great facility. We still use it. Everything that goes there will continue going there, but the cost to use that facility is the same as the others. It's basically $70 a ton by the time we ship from Shafter back to Mount Vernon. We pay on a per ton basis for that facility. Last year, we were paying $48.75 a ton plus freight. So we're sitting right at $70 a ton to utilize Mount Vernon. We have no intentions of changing that, but that's just what it costs today. So the proposed compost facility that we're talking about, where are we so far? We've completed the environmental impact report that's been adopted and approved. We've acquired all of the air credits that were necessary in the San Joaquin Valley to open a facility such as this. We completed the design and received the building permit to build this facility. We've completed all the requirements for the permits that are necessary. We currently hold the authority to construct from the Air Board and the compost facility permit from Cal Recycle. In the 2015 organics plan, it laid out a strategy that went from then till now on what we were supposed to do. What we're supposed to do is build the infrastructure to process the material as it comes in to feed it to a compost facility. As I mentioned earlier, we do that very well and have many facilities that will accept it at no cost. However, we have made a $4.5 million investment in that facility moving towards this compost facility. It included the purchase of a screening equipment, water truck, industrial wood grinders, contaminant sorting line, truck loading dock, and concrete processing slab. Just so sometimes it's easier to tell if you just see it. That's what it looks like. That's what's out there right now that we utilize on a daily basis and run tens of thousands of tons of material through here. What we are requesting now on the proposed facility is a new high-tech, very efficient, very well-run compost facility. It's called a Gore aerated static pile. As you can see, this is one that was built in Kern for Mid-Valley waste. They've been running it for years. It works very well. It's not expensive to run because of the technology that it utilizes. It's very clean. It doesn't have odors. It does all the things you want a compost facility to do. It costs more to put it in, but long-term, it saves you a ton of money, and you'll see that in a minute as well. But this is approved by the San Joaquin Air District because of the TARP, the Gore system, keeps the carbon from escaping. It does a really good job in forcing air up through it, hence the aerated part, into these concrete bunkers, which allows you to maintain the temperature, the moisture, and it will compost for you faster. It's a 28-day process in each bunker. It's very easy to do. It's monitored through remote systems, and you have really good experts watching it so that you know you're getting the product you're looking for. The economics for this, it's expensive. The estimated construction cost currently is $27 million. We hope that's a high number, but that's the current engineer's estimate from the consultant that designed it. We have, with your approval, sent in the grant request to Cal Recycle for this, and we've been told we are very well positioned for that grant, as we are the most shovel-ready, and with any luck, before they award this grant, we will be in construction. That's very difficult to do in the state of California, so we've been told we are ranked extremely high and should be awarded this grant. We've asked for $10 million. That would make the net cost of the facility $17 million. Currently, as I told you, we're spending $70 a ton, and we're about to run 100,000 tons through something. We're going to spend $7 million getting material to other facilities until we can get this thing built. Once we do get it built, we've done a study and come up with the operational cost, looking at the other facilities that are similar, knowing our costs for personnel and equipment, and we've come up with a report that shows it will cost approximately $2 million per year to operate it. So 100,000 tons going through a facility costs $2 million to operate. We will save $5 million per year given the current cost of doing the operations through another company. The facility cost will be recovered in 3.5 years if we get the grant. After that, it'll just be a flat savings to the ratepayers. If we don't get the grant, we'll still recover the cost of the facility in 5.5 years. The facility does one other thing we haven't even touched on yet, because in 1383, you're required to purchase and basically use compost. Every jurisdiction in the county is, County of Kern and every city. This facility will produce a high quality compost that will be bagged and bulked, available to every jurisdiction, city and county, for use by them as they see fit. They can distribute it to the homeowners, they can distribute it to the schools, they can distribute it to their parks, they can do as they see fit. It will be their material that will go back to them after it's composted, fulfilling their procurement requirements and taking that burden off their shoulders. A lot of the city managers have expressed tremendous interest and are excited about that portion of this, because until that's available, it is an issue for every city manager as well as for us. The capital investment for this facility will produce a facility that can compost at a lower cost for the life of the facility. It's because it doesn't require a lot of the equipment and machinery that the older style compost facilities have to use. They have to have people, equipment, they burn diesel. There's a lot to building a windrow and going in and taking it back out, trying to make an aerated static pile when you don't have the facilities to do so. This investment, while it is rather large, will produce significant annual savings to the ratepayers over the life of the facility. With that, any questions or comments?
Thank you, Mr. McGee. I appreciate your treatment of the cost recovery. So if it's $70 a ton for other facilities, what's our estimate if we do it in-house per ton?
$20 a ton.
$20 a ton. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. So at this time, we'll go to public comment if there's no other board comments or questions. Now's the time for public comment on this item. Please come forward, if any. Oh, Supervisor Peters, sorry. Missed you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the presentation, and I'm not against this project. I definitely see the benefit of it, but I do have some questions that maybe today might not be the time for, because you probably don't have that information with you, but in our discussions about handling SB 1383 and the self-hauling portion of that, it was brought up repeatedly that that would cost more money for the county to staff and run those facilities to process that waste that's being brought to us. But this facility, it's, according to these numbers, it's more than 3 times the price for a private company to handle it than it would be for us. So if it's that much more expensive to handle self-hauling, I don't understand that those numbers. That seems like a pretty big disparity. So I don't know if you guys have any comments on that right now, or if that's something you'd like to address at a later meeting. I might double check with county council. I'm not even sure if we can have that conversation right now because it's 1383 related more than the scope of this, but I do think it's relevant.
I would suggest that that particular topic is better reserved for a subsequent meeting. Of course, you can ask general questions as to how the two overlap, but for the specifics of self-haul and as that relates to 1383, that would be a separate item.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll turn it back over to you guys if you have any comments, but if not, that's a discussion I'd like to have offline or at a future meeting.
Supervisor Peters, yeah, we'd love to meet with you and your staff, and we can go through all those numbers and hopefully answer all the questions you have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Thank you, Mr. Champlin. Before I call for public comment once more, since we're hearing these items concurrently, would you like to give the staff presentation for item 7 as well before I go to public comment?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Supervisor Coach.
Trying to figure out a polite way of saying this, but there may not be one. You talked about the requirement that the other composting facilities have to allow the county to use 10% of their capacity. Is that correct? Or some percentage of it. But then you said, for example, one of them, I won't name them, just said, we're not taking your material anymore. And then they decided to come back and take it again. So it doesn't sound like this 10% requirement is really a strong requirement. Is it more of a suggestion? Or how do they just say, no, we're not taking it anymore, and then decide later they will?
All of the requirements for the 10% are predicated on acceptable material for the facility. You can't just send them the equivalent weight of whatever you feel like.
So did we change what we were sending them?
What changed was the one company that stopped taking the material, they stopped taking all material because they were restructuring for a 6-month period. So it wasn't a problem with the material, it was a problem with the internal workings of the company.
Okay, but hang on right there, time out. That doesn't sound like an acceptable reason to stop taking acceptable material.
And it would not have been a reason to stop accepting the material, but they basically closed their doors. As a private entity, we have no control.
To everyone, not just to us.
Everyone. Yeah, they closed for 6 months while they restructured, and that caused us and the problem with that most times is we get no notice whatsoever. That happened with all 3 of the facilities that we use, and we are in a great relationship with all 3. We utilize all 3, we send material all 3, we have great working relationships with all of them, but the people that we work with sometimes are as blindsided as we are when something happens. And Liberty just closed one day and was on the market for sale. We were not notified of that coming. There was no heads up to us, and that happens. It's just in the private industries, sometimes things happen, and that affects us because now we've lost a market that we can send the material to.
So let me ask, I accept that. Let me ask you 2 other things. I think you said with any luck we would be in construction even before the grant was awarded.
Yes.
Is that wise of us?
I believe so.
Why would they give us a grant if we're already under construction?
They are desperately trying to build the infrastructure for composting. We have submitted it. We have been graded. We've been ranked. They want us to build this. As a matter of fact, the closer you are to construction or in construction, the higher your ranking is. They don't want to fund people who are thinking about doing it and might get it done in 2 years. They want to show, I funded a grant.
Well, I understand them saying,
done it.
We want you to have approvals in place and zoning and whatever else, but in construction, they want you to be in construction.
They actually would like you to be in construction if you're possible, but it's very rare that that can happen.
Remind me, now I want to shift to the cost of this for a second. I don't remember the numbers, but this estimate is a new estimate.
It is a new estimate. The original estimate from the consultant that did the design was not good. It needed a lot of review, and there were some issues with them and their takeoff. We sent it back
Did
twice.
we know it wasn't good at the time he gave it to us?
No, that was the problem, because we had utilized expert, engineering firms for this to make sure that they got it right. We sent it back. Our design team sent that estimate back to them twice to have it checked and looked at. Both times they made slight adjustments, but not massive.
So
Until we got the bid.
I don't remember the numbers. How far off?
They missed it by a factor of 3. They said 7 million. The low bid was 21. It made us
Next
really,
time, call me. I can get that close.
I could too. We actually got closer to them in the budgeting process, going, it's going to cost at least 15.
So, as I recall, when we had a discussion here, and I think you were engaged in this predates you,
Yes.
I believe. It was your predecessor. When we increased, and is it the gate fees?
Land use fee.
Land use fee on the property tax bill. It included many, many costs for many projects and programs. That was one of them, the $6 million.
We were adding to that fee to able to handle the additional requirements of SB 1383.
Right.
And this is one of those.
This was one of them. So what is it? We had a lot of conversation about that because, well, we pared back the amount that was being recommended by staff to an amount less than that, let me just say it this way, quickly and easily. Do we have to amend that decision we made back then on the amount of the, I've forgotten, transfer fee, gate fee? What do you call it?
Land use fee.
Land use fee.
I don't believe we do. We've made other adjustments in the budget for the difference, and I think we're ready to go.
So some of the projects came in less than budgeted, or you've gotten,
Some
you
of
said
them
we don't
have
need
been
those
put off.
projects or programs.
They're not as important as this one.
Are you going to touch on that later at all?
I'm sure we will, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question. So whether we get the state grant or not, and obviously we're wanting to get that to offset that cost by $10 million, but the facility cost recovery is only changed by 2 years, whether we get the grant or not, from 5.5 years to 3.5 years.
That's correct.
So going into construction, although it'd be obviously better to know that we're going to receive the grant before rather than later, regardless, it still makes economic sense for us to go forward with the project. The question I have is on this, the facility allows all jurisdictions and Kern to fulfill their procurement requirements without additional cost. You talked about the need to provide materials that are bagged in bulk to distribute to homeowners, schools, and parks. So is that a requirement for each municipality?
Yes, it
to
is.
actually offer product?
They don't have to offer it, but they have to procure it. Okay. There is a section in 1383 that requires each municipality, each jurisdiction within the state of California to purchase and utilize so much compost. Right. Those numbers have been calculated based on population, and each jurisdiction has been told exactly how much they need. The facility we've proposed produces enough to fulfill those requirements and still give us some for additional uses.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and utilize it. It was to help create a market for the material that they knew they were about to have. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Champlin, would you like to proceed with a presentation for number 7?
Thank you, Chairman Flores. The purpose of item number 7 today is to request the board approval of plans and specifications to authorize the department to publish the notice to bidders for the covered aerated static pile composting facility at the Shafter Wasco Recycling and Sanitary Landfill Project. Sufficient funds have been budgeted for this project. The work to be performed consists in general of construction of a covered aerated static composting facility system. The plans and specifications are on file at the clerk of the board's office. An environmental impact report was previously certified for this project pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act on June 22, 2021, with a notice of determination subsequently filed with the county clerk's office. Pursuant to Section 15162 of the State CEQA guidelines, when an EIR has been certified for a project, no subsequent EIR shall be prepared for the subject project unless the lead agency determines that new information or substantial changes are required, which will require major revisions of the previous EIR. Therefore, it is recommended that your board make finding that no further environmental review of this project is necessary pursuant to Section 15162 of State CEQA guidelines. Approve the plans and specifications, authorize the chairman to sign the plans, authorize Public Works Department to publish the notice to bidders in a newspaper of general circulation pursuant to Section 20392 of Public Contract Code. Bid opening date is to be Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 at 11 a.m. at 2700 M Street, Bakersfield, California, 93301.
Thank you. Okay, before any board member comments or questions before we go to public comment? Okay, seeing none. Now is the time for public comment on items number 6 and 7. Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, Jeff Martin, American Refuse. We haul in several jurisdictions, and composting is huge now. I mean, think about this: is we're supposed to get 40% of what's in the waste container out and into the organics container now. That is our challenge. What really makes it more challenging is of where we take it and what they can accept. I've talked to Chuck a lot, and Chuck has helped us a lot along the ways and success programs through jurisdictions that we haul through. We're able to get many schools up to as high as above 90%, where we get them certified zero waste by having a compost facility that we can take material to that has a wide range of incoming material, where they're not just limited on grass or tree trimmings and that type of material. So it is essential that we have a facility to take material to that we won't be so limited so we can have success in our programs. Because think about it, I mean, each one of you guys has a trash can, and look in that trash can and go, 40% has to come out. That's what the state, that's what 1383 is about. They want us to get 40% of that out of there, and how are we going to do it? Well, what we need is, we need the variety. We need that bag, we need to be able to throw that whole bag in there. And Chuck needs to be able to handle all that and sort through it. And we need to do it in a way that Cal Recycle is also still happy, because they're gonna come down on us and they're gonna say we have to have less than 10% residual material. Isn't that right, Chuck? So it is super important, and it's important that we have this partnership in order to meet that success. So we're challenging other jurisdictions to where we don't have that. You know, most of the composting facilities were built, 20, 30 years ago. They're limited to the permits. They're limited on a lot of different things where they can't open back up to accept all these things. And so now we're at the ground floor, and we should do it right and be able to accept everything. And it'll have a lot of success, and it'll keep a lot of people from being extremely angry when we're out there tagging their cans for any little thing that shouldn't be in there. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Martin, and thank you for providing a hauler perspective and what's happening on the ground and what's on the horizon. Okay, next speaker, please. Let's see. Okay, back to our board for final comments and action. Yeah, Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chairman. What is the requested action today by staff?
Action on the last item, item 7 only.
Oh, item 7 only?
Yeah.
Well, I would move staff's recommendation at this time, Chair, if that's appropriate.
Yeah, sure, it's appropriate. Okay. Have a motion?
May I?
Yeah, sure. Supervisor Couch.
Supervisor Peters, do you have enough information for you to move forward?
I think I'm comfortable moving forward.
You got adequate? Okay. I'll second this motion. I want to make sure I'm going to say it again, because I heard you say something and I interpret it one way. You don't have any plans to come back to us to increase the land use fee to cover the cost of this.
This facility should not cause any increase in.
I want hit your mic. Hit your mic. So this is actually recorded.
This facility should not. The construction will not cause an increase. We already have that budgeted and taken care of. Once we can pass the payoff, it should help keep from additional increases because it will save us $5 million a year over our current operation. It should provide some assistance in not having to raise that rate as much.
Some of us
or
may come
at all.
back to you and ask for maybe a rate reduction in the land use fee with all these.
If
all
we
these
could get the
savings.
inflation to stop and things don't go up, that might be possible, but it's really just to take some of the pressure off of the increases that have to happen because it is a real and substantial savings once we get past paying for this thing.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, thank you. So I have a motion. Was that second, Dave? Or was that just questions? Second. So we have a motion and second. Members, please cast your vote.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, staff, for all your work on that, and we'll be looking forward to more updates. Okay, that brings us to item number 26 under County Administrative Office. Let me read that real quick. This is proposed agreements with Workday Inc. for software as a service in an amount not to exceed $26,355,110 from October 10th through October 9th, 2023, with Guidehouse Inc. for implementation services of new enterprise resource planning system in an amount not to exceed $7,258,085. Mr. Jim Zervis, would you like to lead our presentation today?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chairman and members of the board. This item before you today is significant, and it will have an impact on every one of our county departments. Effectively, it would replace a large portion of our outdated software and systems with a modern commercial enterprise resource planning suite from Workday. These are some of the most critical systems that our county relies on every day for things such as payroll, human resources, budgeting, accounting, procurement, and fiscal management. This project has been a long time coming, and it's been headed up by a multi-departmental steering committee with representatives from the Auditor Controller, ITS, Treasurer Tax, Human Resources, and the County Administrative Office. Caitlin Zinger from my office, who was recently certified as a project management professional, is managing this project, and she's led this effort to get us here to this point today. Ms. Zinger will be presenting this item to your board this afternoon.
Thank you. Welcome.
Chairman, members of the board, I'm thrilled to provide an update on the county's new enterprise resource planning system, a journey that represents a significant step towards fulfilling our strategic plan, more specifically, how we manage our business and our workforce. Our current legacy systems are disparate, aging, and have departments trapped in operational silos. The move to a fully integrated system will allow our departments to perform as one county team. This project is more than just a technology update. It's a commitment to better serve our community, to use taxpayer dollars more efficiently, and to empower our workforce to reach new heights of productivity. The agreements before you today are not just documents. They are blueprints that capture our vision for a more efficient and responsive county government. Over the last year, the steering committee and alongside subject matter experts from various county departments have been hard at work to ensure the success of this transformative initiative. The work began with a crucial phase, project readiness, which spanned 3 intense months. The Government Finance Officers Association walked our team and subject matter experts through detailed as-is mapping, future state mapping, and helped us identify our functional requirements. During this phase, we engaged staff from departments who collectively represent more than 80% of our entire workforce. Their input was valuable and ensured we fully understood the unique needs across our departments. In February, we published a robust request for proposal, which was meticulously crafted to encompass all the functional requirements identified during our readiness phase. The procurement process that ensued was a collaborative effort with transparency and fairness at its core. A diverse selection committee was established and held to the highest standards of evaluation, ensuring that all 8 qualifying proposals were thoroughly assessed and every potential partner received timely communication. On July 25th, 2023, your board approved the proposed selection of Workday for the software as a service solution and Guidehouse as the system implementer, and authorize the Chief Administrative Officer to enter contract negotiations. Since then, the Steering Committee and Deputy County Counsel Ann Garza have worked diligently to secure favorable business and legal terms for the county. I'm pleased to share that we have successfully closed contract negotiations with 2 of our chosen partners, bringing the Workday and Guidehouse agreement packages to the final stage, your approval. Their subscription with Workday extends for 10 years through October of 2033. The 10-year term provides a stable and predictable cost model that allows the county to lock in current pricing for a long-term period. The average annual cost of subscribing to Workday over 10 years is approximately $2.4 million. The agreement with Guidehouse spans 28 months, with a one-time cost of approximately $7.2 million, paid over the next 3 fiscal years. Guidehouse will lead the county through a phased implementation approach with an anticipated financial deployment in November of 2024, followed by human capital management in June of 2025. Given the complexity of an ERP implementation, this phased project timeline poses the least amount of risk. With me today is Chad Duffy, a regional director at Workday, and Wyatt Starewski, an engagement director at Guidehouse. They both welcome the opportunity to address your board and have joined me today. So Chad, the floor is yours.
Where's my button?
Is the mic on?
It's already on. Well, hello, Chair and board members. Appreciate you having us here today. First of all, I want to congratulate Caitlin and the team for running a tremendous process. You know, they were very meticulous, they were very thoughtful, they were very engaging. You know, this is a massive engagement that's going to entail a project that's going to touch every single employee at the county. And the way that they engage departments, brought them in as part of the demos, brought them in as part of the RFP process, is going to allow you to have great success. We look forward to the opportunity of working hand in hand with Guidehouse to drive you to a successful conclusion of this project that will allow you to transform how you deliver services internally and externally. Look forward to any questions from any of you at this point.
I'm going to go ahead and let Wyatt speak as well. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Supervisors, Chairman, as Kate mentioned, my name is Wyatt Starewski and I'm with Guidehouse. I'm personally invested in Kern County's success as I will serve as your executive sponsor throughout the entirety of the project. Guidehouse is the only Workday implementation partner solely focused on government. With that, we bring to Kern County a very experienced government team doing successful Workday implementations. We feel like our experience paired with the due diligence and planning that Kern County has done throughout this, paired with the team and resources that have been great through the RFP process, that we feel like this is going to be a very successful project.
Thank you.
The proposed agreements have been reviewed and approved as to form by County Council. Therefore, it is recommended that your board approve the proposed agreements with Workday for their software as a service solution and Guidehouse for the implementation of a new enterprise resource planning system and authorize the chairman to sign. This concludes my update, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Supervisor Perez.
Chair, thank you so much. First of all, that was a very exciting presentation, gentlemen. I appreciate your professionalism and your focus and keen eye on Kern County. We're a small town, but we mean business. I'm sure you know that by now. So thank you. We take this stuff very seriously. Caitlin, your presentation was really extraordinary, largely because you started very passionately and very competently with the big question of why. You know, why are we doing this? Why are we asking the taxpayer to make more investments, right? What does that mean for them? What does it mean for our workforce? I loved your bullet points on why we're doing this and what is the benefit to the county, what is the benefit to the taxpayer, who's watching this and going, that's expensive. I thought you did really an excellent job of saying why we need to do this, in particular operating out of our silos. That has been, That's been a real challenge for us. And I think it's across the board challenging. I appreciate Jim Zervis. I've told him more than once, Jim, we expect you to bring Kern County into the 21st century. He said he's the man for the job. Those folks look very much like they know what they're doing. And I loved your presentation. I appreciate your hard work. I'm so happy to hear you say that the process has been meticulous and professional. That's the standard we expect every time, and we have the goods, we have the people. So I'm excited about this. I'm going to make a recommendation or a motion on your recommendation, and I want to say thanks for all the hard work. Jim, we talked extensively about this last week. I appreciate you making the rounds and making sure that we had covered all our bases. So hats off to the county family. I think this looks very good. And with that, I make my motion. Chair,
Thank
that's
you.
all. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Before we ask for a second, I still got to get to public comment, but we'll put that motion on hold. We'll come back to it in a bit. Is there any public comment on this item before we come back to the board for action? Okay. Seeing none, at this time, I'll ask for any further comment or a second.
I'll make a second.
Okay, great. Motion second. And again, before we press the buttons, thank you, everybody. Thank you, CAO's office, for all your work and for consulting our internal stakeholders. And again, there was a lot mentioned with cost and contracts and government speak. But the bottom line is this optimization of government, better services for our public, and we're going to serve Kern County better. So at this time, let's cast our vote.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. Okay, having no more items to consider, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to Tuesday, October 24th.
So moved.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.